Omar Algenii, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure to be here, and I'm so happy.
Art director, communication designer, photographer, videographer, copywriter, content creator. That's quite an impressive array of roles. But tell us, who is Omar Algenii at his core?
That's a tough question, man, because to say the truth, I still have to figure out who I am and what I'm doing in this world. And this has been always at the base of my evolution, you know. Probably I'm just a dreamer. I am just someone who never settled with what the life was handing him. And I wanted to explore who I am, what my needs. Also because in a world of hyper specialization, you know, now you can speak with people, you can speak with colleagues, and you can find people that are absolute professional, that are super specialized in one thing. And in a world like this, where once I was in a vernissage in Hong Kong, and I met this guy telling me that he was a food photographer. I said, "What means a food photographer?" He said, "I just take pictures of the food." I was thinking, this guy, he's a genius. He can do all the kind of job himself for the entire city. Or I deeply believe it's going to be tough to make it on a living, you know. But that's the point. And in a world like this, in a world where everybody aims to be super hyper specialized in something, being able to span all those kind of disciplines are, in my opinion, an advantage. But let's see. So I still have to figure out. And when I will, maybe I can give you a phone call and we can talk again.
You've mentioned that we live in a world of hyper-specialization, a point that's hard to disagree with. How did you navigate through such a broad range of disciplines?
That's a good one. Thank you for asking me this. I can tell you that it has been a very long journey, 25 years, this December, coincidentally. And with this amount of time, 25 years doesn't happen by chance. So probably you're good in what you're doing, otherwise it doesn't stand. And throughout these years, I had a chance to experiment, explore, to find my limit with the purpose to cross the limit. So I find the boundaries and I want to go further. And that's what this is, as I mentioned, this is a forma mentis. It's sort of mindset that has driven me all along these years. And right because we were mentioning the hyper specialization before, and I was thinking nowadays many companies cannot afford to have one photographer, one videographer, one brand specialist, one marketing specialist. Then we're going to talk about marketing probably, but I was thinking maybe this is the right direction. This didn't happen by chance anyway, because at the beginning of my career, when I was a rampant and aspiring graphic designer, as soon as I get out from the high school, before even, you know, choosing the right university, because at that time, branding was a concept that coming from US alongside all the machine, like a Mac. The first Mac, I made my first Mac when I was in high school. It was funny because once I said this technician was assembling this Mac, and I saw something like a box, plastic box, and I said, what's that? It's a photocopy? And he said, no, it's not a photocopy, it's a scanner. It's a scanner? What's a scanner? Can you imagine 16 years old, the first time watching a scanner? So you can scan whatever you need, and you can have in the computer. I said, what you can scan? And he said me, for example, do you have a picture? And I handed him a picture. It was the badge for the transportation bus, you know. And when I discovered that you can scan the picture, you can have the picture on the monitor, you can modify it as well as you can, as well as you want, I said, wow, is that a job? And he says, yes, it's a job. I want to do this in my life. That's the beginning of everything. And when I was out of the high school, I started immediately trying to work, and I succeeded because I was already good enough, you know, to propose myself as a photo retoucher with Photoshop. But the problem was that I wanted to explore also branding. That was these new things, you know, designing a logotype, creating a concept that was something amazing. And if you want to go to the university to study it at that time, we were talking about 1994, it was tough. You have to go through academy, you know, like the dam, you remember? And there was nothing like that. So I I said, okay, let me take the decision, right decision. Meanwhile, I'm already working. So I did. And I was wandering all around the agencies, not at the time, but the agencies used me as they wanted, as they needed, right? So in one agency, I was retouching picture, just that. In another agency, I was trying to create a logotype. And I at the beginning of it all, I was thinking, this is a curse. I cannot do what I want. But in a medium and long term, I discovered that was a bless, because that gave me this kind of formament, as I was mentioning before. This mindset to explore. Okay, I need to do 3D. Let me explore what I can do myself. Also because I'm a picky one. So I always claim for myself to have the 100% result. And so I did also with my collaborators, with my partners, whatever. I never pretend, oh, this is good, it's good enough. No, if it's not good, full stop. So period, rewind and redo it. And this is why I explored all these things, because sometimes it's very complex nowadays to make companies understanding. Now I think it's changing. The thing is changing. The companies are thinking to have one unit, one person, one professional that can span different disciplines, because it's economically advantageous, because it is straightforward. One need, it's not like 5 needs. If you have 5 professionals, you have 5 needs, right? So if you have me, one like me, it doesn't matter if it's art direction, it is, I am a sort of strange director. I don't know if in English is anomaly. It's an anomaly, something that is extraordinary, because I'm an art director, but I'm not only the one who think on the concept. I do that, I realize the concept and so on. And this is something very super proficient for the company.
Kind of out of the box.
Kind of out of the box, because I don't go there and tell, okay, I want to do this. I don't give orders. I hate who gives orders. I show you the route. I feel that I can say I'm a leader, because I show you how you can achieve 150% of your potentials. And that makes all the difference in this world.
You say 25 years in marketing. That's an impressive amount of time. How has this journey been for you?
A roller coaster. Freaking roller coaster. Was almost selling. Don't watch my language. It's freaking roller coaster, because like every roller coaster, it slams you with no mercy, left, right, up, down, at the verge of a puke very, very often. But like every respectful roller coaster all over the world, when you end up your ride with roller coaster, there's one unique thing you want to do pretty soon after. You just want to jump again on to have another ride. That's the point. And if I would have a chance, I would redo everything as I did so far. I mean, I made lots of mistakes, for sure. But the mistakes are basically, the experience is just the sum of all the mistakes that we have run into. And up until a mistake is proficient to teach you, it's welcome. You can learn a lot. You can go further. I never did the same mistakes twice, to say the truth. And I believe that it's at the base of what we call evolution. And that's very important, because in 25 years, I experienced everything. Also because I spent many different industries. Consumer electronics, computer, music instruments and show business, real estate, food. I really love working for food. I loved also working for toy. Now, for example, I am in iGaming, and every time is everything new. And this is what makes this job super exciting. It's kind of, you never stop learning, you never stop pushing yourself over. You always are there to learn something new. But the funny thing is, in marketing, because people don't know it, marketing is always the same. When I see people telling me, so I am an expert in digital marketing. Okay, fair enough. But what's the difference among digital marketing and original marketing, traditional marketing. You seriously want to make me believe that there is difference? You want to make me believe that the technique that we use in marketing, framing and reframing, for example, works for the traditional, doesn't work for digital? The endowment effect, all those kind of things, works in digital, doesn't work in traditional, and vice versa? No, marketing is always there. It has always been there since probably the invention of advertising, even before. And marketing can only work with the right communication. Communication and marketing works together 100% of the times, right? You cannot do marketing without communication. You can do communication without marketing, because you can, for example, if you open a social media channel, if you go, for example, one of the most prominent, it's YouTube, but you go there, you start talking about your thing, your thought about the peace in the world, how the people should befriend, how the friendship works, whatever. You're not trying to sell anything. You're not trying to propose any service, any product, whatever. You're doing communication. But if you want to do marketing, at the base, you can start processing marketing, because marketing means also understanding the product, understanding the price, the right market in which you can introduce your service or product. But up until you don't communicate the value, none of this is going to be effective. In order to make your strategy effective, you have to communicate your value. You have to communicate your brand reputation. You have to communicate who you are, what you do. If you don't communicate, nobody's going to knock your door. That's for sure.
So basically, you're saying that marketing is not about selling; it's about engaging people and bringing them to you to love your product, and then selling is just the last piece of the process.
Exactly. It's the so-called halo effect. For example, Apple iPhone, many people is going to be disappointed, but I say it anyway. Apple iPhone is not the highest level of phone you can find on the market. There are other brands that can give you much more, sometimes for half of the price. I did it in one presentation not so recently, but I did it as example. But why the people, excluding China, are still focusing on buy an Apple iPhone rather than Xiaomi? Why? Why then don't buy Honor or Huawei that gained recently in the recent 10 years, in the last decade, they gain lots of market with their product because their products are super nice. Because you identify with the quality that they show up. This is the reason why a company like Apple converge tons and tons of resources, money, a lot of money, millions probably, every year in advertising and whatever. This is not happening by chance. This is happening because they want to reinforce their narration, their storytelling. This is a magic word under my point of view. Because if you have the right storytelling, you can say whatever. It doesn't matter. This is a sample that I always propose when I got interviewed, or when I speak with, for example, with some guys that, sometimes I used to be an instructor and a teacher, and I always say it doesn't matter what you sell. It doesn't matter if you're selling a mozzarella cheese or a launch pad for a SpaceX rocket. All the products in the world have their own audience. You have to just intersect their way, their language, their method, their habits, and craft the right message to talk with them, to speak with them, to talk to them. If you are able to do it, you have lots of potential, lots of odds to strike the market with a good service or product. If you don't know to create a storytelling around your brand, around your personality, because also the storytelling works with everything. We're not speaking about product or just a service. We can speak even about personality. And that's the point. You identify not only with the quality of the product, but also with the quality of the person. And you fight for that thing. I want to have an Apple because I've expressed myself through it, which is a super nice concept. And whoever understands this, whoever understands that whatever they say, if they have a good level of storytelling, they can sell whatever, given that the product has a certain quality. Because I would never say, if you are, don't watch my language, but if you're selling crap, you can have the storytelling as you want, you're selling crap, full stop, right?
You've worked across different countries, the USA, Europe, and China, to name a few. What were those experiences like? And did you face any significant challenges in terms of cultural differences, work methods, or approaches?
I would say no. I didn't experience such many differences in terms of the approach that they have, or all the things that they can, you can experience through their, by the way, approach, as we said, or through their culture and workflow, which can be affected by. You probably would be surprised, as I was when I experienced that. More or less, they basically are the same in terms of how an entrepreneur, which doesn't mean it is not important. It doesn't matter if it is from US, if it is from China, from Europe, wherever. When you are an entrepreneur, it's just like in your mind, it's just triggering something that makes you thinking like everybody else. So you want just to succeed with your brand, of course, with your product or series of product and services. You want to thrive. You want to create something that is going to be not only beautiful, to sell, but also memorable. And as I said, it could be surprising, as it surprised me at the time, but I experienced it several times that no matter what culture was leading in, what culture, what approach I was trying to fit, I always experienced the same problem, because the marketing is marketing everywhere. Now, what makes marketing different is the audience. Marketing and communication are somehow a simple thing. It's there since the beginning of the selling era. When you propose a service, when you propose a product, it doesn't matter what you sell. How you can say it, it's much more important than what you say, basically. Of course, you have to have the backup of the product. But once your product does what you are telling me your product does, you shouldn't have problem. And what you should focus on is just how you can do that kind of message in a way that is going to strike and to engage your audience, which is important. And that's the reason why sometimes I think that it's the marketing, that is an overused word all over the world, because, okay, you want to do marketing, but you know how to do marketing? That's the point. And it doesn't matter where you are from. If you don't understand it and they think the same, and they have the same trouble, the same problem to go through. And that's what I can say.
Okay, you are describing marketing as the most overused word in the world. So why do you think that?
Many people, throughout my career, I met dozens and dozens of different people. Many of those were involved in marketing at different level, with different roles: marketing manager, marketing coordinator, marketing this, marketing that. Okay, everybody speaks about marketing, but how many people can really understand what marketing is? Marketing is, as I said, at the same time, a complex and easy stuff. It's easy because the rules and the techniques are there since the beginning. Reframing, the truth well told, as I mentioned before, the endowment effect, the decoy effect, all this kind of thing. They are not only way to say, it's not just sort of slang in marketing. They are literally are mechanisms and techniques that you can use all over your campaign. And also a designer is supposed to understand it. Because if I design something, when I design that something, I design on a purpose. This is crucial to understand, because if I never design something because I like that, it's not what I like. It's not what the marketing manager likes. It's not what the owner likes. It's should be, because that's one of the problem. I used to listen to them, and I used to listen something like, "Oh, I don't like it. Don't go for that." Well, we don't have to do what you like, because given that you like it, that doesn't mean that this asset is going to work. Let me give you another example. When you go for a social media campaign, many times I experience companies that pushed me to just produce. We have to go out. We have to go out with something. We need one post per week. And then 2 posts per week, and then 3 posts per day, 5 posts per day. I was baffled because I said, excuse me, I'm confused. What's our purpose? To fill up something with whatever we have, or crafting something that stays on the right direction, on the right rail, delivering the message? Because everything is about storytelling. Everything is crafting the message. If you don't craft the right message, you're not going to convey the right message. If you don't convey your right message, what are the odds that your audience is going to understand you? Because everything is about the audience. It's not such important what you say. It's very important how you say it. And if you know how to do it, you can even insult me, very badly. And if you know how to do it correctly, you could expect that I can argue, and I thank you from the deepest part of my heart, if you know how you do it. Now, I'm not telling that you have to do such kind of experiment. I'm just telling that given that your product is good, as you believe, and given that your product works, so does what you say it does, you should take care about how you convey the message of the value of your product or service. That's very important. If you do this, I don't think there are many problems in succeeding in what you're doing. If you understand how you can address your audience. Because let me tell you something. Forget about the 4P, the 4A marketing. Okay, these are good, I understand, but I can tell you marketing is easy. It's complex because you have to intercept your audience. You have to intercept their taste. You have to intercept their language, above all. And to do it, you have a process of 4 steps. Analyzing, understanding, acting based on what you understood, and deploy. Once you deployed, you restart the engine. So you restart analyzing, understanding, acting, deploying. Why after you deployed, you restart analyzing? Because you have to understand if it is working. And if it is working, you can analyze, understanding that it is working. Once you understood, you can deploy and, let's say, reinforcement of your campaign, pushing hard on the throttle, as I always say. If it is not working, you analyze, you understand that it's not working, you correct and you deploy. And it's like a roller coaster I was talking about before. It's 365, 24/7. The carnival is always open, and we never jump out because it is what it is. And that's why I deeply believe that marketing should be digested better. Because marketing is there with all the techniques I mentioned, is there since the beginning. What is evolving, what is changing constantly are the tools, are the languages, the trends, all those kind of things. It's like a fashion style, This year, you like the trousers in a certain way. Next year, trousers no more, another thing. And this is languages, and this is the trends, and this is also the culture of the people. Talking to an housewife nowadays in Milan, it's completely different to talk to an housewife in Milan 50 years ago. The technique is there, it's always the same. It's the language that can change. It's changed because we evolved since that moment.
Right. You've worked for numerous companies, some of which are leaders in their industries. What's the accomplishment you're most proud of? And on the other side, is there a job or project you wish you hadn't taken on?
Let me start from the bad one. The bad one was in Hong Kong. The only time in 25 years that I got basically lifted up and removed from my commitment unfairly, in my opinion. Not only in my opinion, but that was not the task that was tough. There is no task that cannot be accomplished. I deeply believe in it. I believe that the task has a certain kind of, there's level of difficulties, but if you have, it's just a matter of time, in my opinion. If you have the right time, the right amount of time to process everything, you can analyze, understand, acting, and deploy. There is nothing that you cannot do. There was, many years ago, there was a famous, notorious company with a famous payoff that was basically telling impossible is nothing. I deeply believe in it. So in that case was was more the people behind the task and behind the brand, not the task itself. And I'm not gonna be so inelegant to say the name, but I can tell you that the company was projected in the void, completely in the void, and unfortunately for them, that's what happened. I predicted it. They didn't lie that I was predicting it, and they said, "Okay, you lift it up. Okay, no problem." I did a lot in 25 years. I did a lot for sure, but probably one of the most that I feel mine deeply in my heart is the one that I accomplished for the PRV Audio, Brazil. They have one branch in Fort Lauderdale in US. And I started working with this guy because he worked with me in Italy before many years ago. And he gave me a phone call. He asked me if I would be willing to follow this rebranding campaign he was thinking on. It was 2014. So I started from Hong Kong a little while, and then they invited me to visit them. I've been there twice to better understand the processes, products, services, whatever. It was very amazing experience because I was entrusted to redesign everything from scratch. There was a soul there was a core business, there was everything, but I was basically involved to understand their core value and to go through to improve that. They also challenged me with one important thing. They said, we have two different audiences, both very important for us. Two different audiences, and in terms of demographic, they are far away from each other that like would be no tomorrow. So they are on a parallel, lines that will never cross each other. So we cannot address the one without disappointing the other. And that was the first thing. When I started, I didn't begin designing, I began it thinking how to solve the problem. Because we have to craft a message, we have to understand how to talk with both these audiences. And after a certain while, a couple of weeks, I was thinking, and I went out with this idea. I said, those people that never will cross each other in their path, they are basically both interested in one unique thing, getting emotion, listening to their favorite music. It doesn't matter if you do this with a system in your house with 35,000, complex setup, or if you do it on the beach with a car audio, whatever, it doesn't matter. Both of those people, different demographic. The first one could be a C-level, the second one could be ordinary worker. Different style, different culture, but they both want to be able to get emotion about what they're doing. So I went out with this payoff, your emotions, our technology, which means that was the subliminal message, you are in the chance to be emotioned and to be experiencing something that fulfill your life through the music, thanks to our commitment to give you the highest product possible, no matter if one or the other. That was so successful that they were blown up in their mind. And after 10 years, now it's the 11th year, they're doing it. I know that the company is doing very well, and I still slavery following my brand book and the brand concept with the evolution that I mentioned before, but still basic their strategy, on that kind of concept, that kind of brand book. Because afterward, in 7 months, I designed everything: prototype of advertising, prototype of static images, motion graphics. I designed the entire possible prototypes ever in order to lead their communication in the right direction. I'm very proud about it because they're still doing it. They're still doing it with my concept after 11 years. I think it's the witness, the matter of fact that they did probably a great job, likely my best job ever. Together with another job I made with B2Bet, because when I joined B2Bet the first time in 2018, I was completely a rookie in iGaming. I never worked in iGaming. I found a really, really wonderful base left there by my predecessor, which occasionally it's also a friend of mine, Luca in Sabatino. Ciao Luca, I love you. And I found this base very well done. And everything we had to do is just process the rebrand, the brand reputation with brand awareness and all the steps, And we managed to create a brand reputation that led to an exit to the company, sold the company to a big fish. And probably this has been another achievement that it's not only me, of course, it was the entire group, the entire team, marketing. I think that we did a really, really great job. But when I worked in Crowell, when I worked in Touch for Kids, a Canadian company specialized in toy production, it was another very beautiful experience. But overall, what I'm proud of is that I always keep constantly pushing hard on the throttle in order to deliver the best asset possible in terms of communication and marketing tools, because I work for marketing. I mentioned already in this interview that sometimes people come to me and tell, you are a designer, you're not keen, to understand marketing. You're not able. You're not. It's not your business. It's not your concern, and this is wrong. Every marketing people should understand communication, because there is no, as I said, there is no marketing without communication. You can start marketing strategy because you can understand. Marketing means also understanding the market, understanding the price, the right price, evaluating the assets that you have, pro and cons, but then you have to deploy. Because if you want to sell, you have to communicate. There is no marketing that can support sales without communication. And this pertains also to the designer. A good designer cannot be a good designer if they don't know all the rules in marketing. That is crucial. So when I design something, I design accordingly, as I said, according to my knowledge and not what I like. I know that I have to strike a demographic. I know that I have to aim to get the result. If I don't get the result, why the company should pay me? When I create a video, when I create a motion graphic, when I create a banner, when I create a slogan, I really like copywriting because it serves me to craft the storytelling much better than anything else. So this is very important to understand. If you're a designer, you don't understand this kind of storytelling things, you're wrong, simply. And creativity is nothing without a purpose. Once there was a notorious company starting producing, telling, power is nothing without control, which is true. Creativity is nothing without a purpose. Creativity can leave creativity to the painter. You quit your relationship with a woman of your life. What are the odds that the next day when you're going to paint, your grief, your painful, this painful thing that you're living, What are the odds that you're not going to transfer into the paint? I think that 95% of the time, you're going to transfer it. So like the musician, I'm not a marketer, not a designer. Companies pay us because they want to deliver a message. They want to do branding. They want to do brand reputation, building a brand. And you have to strike the message accordingly to the purpose through your creativity, which is one of the most important assets. Not only that, but this is what I think.
We always push to the limit with advertisement, communication, and marketing strategies. Is there a limit that you can push beyond?
Yeah, pretty much. One of the limits is you never have to lie to your customers, or to the people you are addressing for your message. Not only because it's the most stupid thing that you could do, and it is also ethically questionable, but also because it's going to backfire you in a way that you cannot even believe possible. And this is the limit. All the rest is, once you got into the path that you decided, because strategy, what is a strategy? Strategy is a path. No, as we said, you start that path, you can correct it. You can change completely because you drastically understood that it's not working and you have to completely change direction. But up until you do it in a correct way, all right, people is going to appreciate you. Ethic has to be at the top level of your attitude, because if you do that, people will, especially nowadays with social media, when you got disappointed by a service or product, what do? First thing you do, you open a social media, you can make a video. Oh, this company, this service sucks. So my suggestion is always plan, always try to understand. Don't do much more than you could, because as you say in English, when you say vuoi strafare, in Italian we say vuoi strafare, which means you want to do much more than it is in your possibilities. Stay within your possibilities. Push a little bit over the boundaries. Try to understand how you can do it, but never exaggerate, never lie, first thing, and always think that your audience is the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Because if you don't have an audience that can purchase your services, your product, or even yourself, in terms of you would an actor. There are actors that is very bad in acting, but they are very good in building a community. And even though you are, I won't say mediocre, because first of all, I'm not an expert, so I can't say, but you are not the best actor in the world, okay? You're not Denzel Washington, all right? But you know how to act somehow. But you have such charisma, such quality you're always honest, you're always propositive, you're always smiling. People appreciate it. And once you create your community, people doesn't go to the cinema to watch the title because they read the plot. They probably never read it. They just see the trailer, they love the actor, and that's the reason why an actor costs $40 million to have him in a film, and another actor is $1 million. That's all the difference is there. So stay on the path, plan, and never lie. That's my suggestion.
As we near to the end of this interview, I have to ask, what's next?
Good question. Next, it has been a long journey, as we said. I just hope that I can keep going, pushing on the throttle to give the best I can to my employer or customer or whatever, or together, and to deliver some very good communication assets, something that just not go to fulfill the needs of the company or make the achievement that we plan to have, but also to be memorable. I think that I did in my career, not every time, but pretty often, I would say. And I want to keep going like this, because I always embrace with enthusiasm, the new things. That's the reason why I spend, in several different disciplines. Let me tell you something that could be funny. Probably because you worked as well for a little while there. When I joined in 1999, 25 years ago, they introduced me the possibility to start taking pictures. I never did it before. I always been fascinated by that word, because I was retouching picture, but I never ever tried to do one, all right, to take one, because it was very expensive. Don't get me wrong, also nowadays it's super expensive. So they introduced me this kind of thing, and they said, would you be willing to learn how to illuminate and take a picture of the broad? So I said, where to sign? So I want to do it, And they basically introduced me this huge studio with a vertical scanner. It was basically a digital back. I call it vertical scanner because unlike the camera nowadays, which you click, like it was happening during the film era, that was the passage, it was 1999, there was still, as a core photography, there was the film, and there was a sort of migration towards the down of the migration towards the digital. But I still have that. I already have that. I discovered that we can take a picture that costs us 12 minutes. At the end of the scan with an optical bank, at the end of the scan, you can have immediately the picture over the monitor, 100 megabyte pictures. 100 megabytes picture in 1999, can you imagine it? So the first time that I saw it, I had the same exactly feeling like Tony Stark had in the movie in Iron Man when he discovered the first time he could fly with the suit. So exactly the same. I was blown up completely. And I said, what can I do with that? And it opened me doors that I never could even imagine. And that's why nowadays I basically went through and, okay, there is Runway, there is AI for animating creature. Okay, let me explore it. There is Sora. You can make an entire movie with that. Okay, let me explore it. This is the mindset I was mentioning at the beginning of this interview. Very important to understand. So to address your question properly is just like what I can do in the next 25 years, probably, I hope. I will keep pushing on the throttle in order to experience something astonishing, to create astonishing assets. Trying to make something memorable.
Great. Now I want to ask you how you will be memorable on this earth, on this planet Earth.
Doing my job without compromise. Maybe nobody's going to know this, but I know that I'm going to be memorable.
So shall we schedule the follow-up in 25 years?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's do this, man. Let's experience this 25 years ahead. And then in 25 years time from now, I'm going to give a phone call to you. And if you're still willing to listen to me and my story, I'm going to be glad to sit here again and to share with you, okay?
Yeah, Omar. So thank you very much for being here. And
thank you.
After this interview, it's been a pleasure to meet you again.
Thank you to you. And it has been absolutely my pleasure to be here.